Hello everyone, my name is Notepad, and on and I write games for fun. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to be working on workshopping a little bit for Ojisan Demon Slayer Corporation. Now, what is Ojisan Demon Slayer Corporation? Ojisan Demon Slayer Corporation was actually born from you may be amazed by this, from a 5-minute RPG thread. And that 5-minute RPG thread had a very simple pitch. And that pitch was, how do you make a game in 5 minutes? That's it. That's all you had, 5 minutes. And it was very simple, because all I did was like, okay, what do you do in 5 minutes? And I hit the timer, I'm like, fuck, I don't know. So I'm like, oh, okay, we'll do something immediate. Demon Slayers, cool. Like Demon Slayers. So I typed up the word Demon Slayers. I'm like, well, you need stats. Sword. What else? Old man, and what was it? I think it was sword, old man, and words. Those are my 5 stats. I'm like, roll it, assign stats, roll it under a d6. If you can bullshit another stat to be it, you can use that one at a -2. That's all I did. That was a very simple 5-minute RPG. Was it good? No. But I'm like, you know what? That's actually kind of a weird idea. So Ojisan Demon Slayer Corporation kind of got shoved away into the back of the memory palace a little bit. And I'll let myself worry about that later. However, like most things in this beautiful world of ours, I got another idea. And that idea was spawned from, if I bring it up here real fast, where are you? Where are you? Did I move it? I think I actually moved it. If I move you in here, I wouldn't be surprised if I did. There's tunneling goblins. Where's sexy men posing dramatically? Where are you? Am I having a stroke? Yeah. This is sexy men posing dramatically. Specifically, Platinum Disco Inferno. As you can see, what the hell? I wrote it in Notepad, man. When you get that much time, you write shit in Notepad and you dream. So, I ended up writing this because my friends were like, we want to run a JoJo game. So I'm like, all right, well, I'll make something really quick, because I didn't really know that many games at that point. So Sexy Men Posing Dramatically was created. This is technically the 2nd edition of this game, because the first one was bad. But it's pretty much what it was a attribute D6 system. Yes, and attributes could get pretty big. And attributes for things like sparkle, pose, muscle, wits. Yeah, and then you had all the stand attributes. This was the complicated part, with stand attributes in this game in particular. Oh, I've been drinking? Oh, not yet. I mean, if you want me, I can... Now I've been drinking. Very different. Oof, that's good. But effectively what this game was all about was playing JoJo. And it wasn't that great. It had its own issues, but it did its job. However, Ojisan Demon Slayer Corporation was kind of let's take away the JoJo aspect. Let's strip that away. We'll do our own thing with it. And maybe it can make it work a little bit better. So I did. Which leads us to what we have here. Actually, so here's all the Gai notes. Oh, wow, look at all these Gai notes. Goodbye, Gai notes. You can no longer hurt me. Ooh. And, hello, Demon Slayer Corporation, otherwise known as, like, this pathetically small amount of notes. I don't know, so let's lock you in place. Let's see. Yeah. Say I want a meteor game. I don't know if I want. I don't know if that's appropriate at this point. In time. I tried to put in the jazziest soundtrack I could in the background. So, overall, Ojisan needed to do things a little bit different. So, one thing about this game already is that one thing I know anyway is, go away, we're going to be doing this. Now, what does this mean for the game? It means that there's a distinct beginning and there's a distinct ending. And that, but more accurately, a very distinctive ending date. January 1st, 1991. That is the ending date. Well, there can be a few ending dates, but that's going to be the main ending date. And because there's that ending date, everything's going to kind of work up to that point. And what's the important part about that date? Well, that is when the Japanese bubble burst. The stock market crashed, and things went haywire very quickly. So we have this very tight narrative. We have this very tight idea of what needs to occur, and we know exactly when it ends. So, actually what I'm going to do here, I'm going to put this right over here. What I should do is do something like this instead. If I can do that, and then we... Come on, bubble air up. Do what I want you to do. There we are. So, let's see. Yeah, this is going to be the other major thing. We're going to have to do the idea of level down. And how I envision this. This is the big thing. How I envision this right now is kind of how you would traditionally level up. Because what do you do if you want to level up in a game? You get experience points. You know, you get experience points. And once you hit either you hit a certain threshold or you spend them. Oh, I have 5 XP. I can convert that 5 XP into a +1 to my attribute. Or I can do that into a +2 to my skill or whatever. That's what you can do. That's just how traditional games are set up. And that's fine. That's what we want to work with. And that's okay with me. But what I was thinking about doing... I can't actually see it. Yeah, there we go. What I was thinking about doing was instead, you're going to be getting... I don't even know how to even word it. But negative XP. And that negative experience is going to be kind of reflected in the idea of like wear and tear. Just time's catching up and it's kicking your ass a little bit. And you have to spend that XP in reverse. Well, if it costs 5 XP normally to get a +1 to an attribute, when you're at negative 5 XP, you can reduce an attribute by 1 to make up for it. You're pretty much buying back all your cool advancements that you've gotten over the years. Because in D&D terms, you're level 20 already. And because you're level 20, you have to improvise. You have to change things up a little bit. So what kind of attributes should we have? Well, let's see. In Sexy Men Posing Dramatic, SMPD, we had... Let's see, we had Sparkle, Pose, Muscle, and Wits. So Sparkle was pretty much your... Razzle Dazzle. Razzle Dazzle Charisma. Pose was more of like your dexterity. Muscles was your strength. And Wits was your smart. It was smart. This is pretty much how smart you were. So we can... However, what would a Demon Slayer need? Well, what I was thinking about doing is kind of going back to its original roots a little bit. Its original game. And doing something like... Yeah, very much. Was doing something like sword arts, demon not like things like that. Just what would be attributes for an insanely strong demon hunting man at this point? Because the lore is pretty simple. Demon hunters have been around for years. Demon hunters have been around for years. They hunt demons. They hunt demons for the government, but government cutbacks. Government cutbacks due to their extravagant nature. But government cutbacks pretty much cut their department. You are pretty much a member, you are a pretty much supernaturally gifted super soldier dedicated to hunting down demons that threaten Japan. And your guys just got cut. You've just been laid off effectively. The end of your term is January 1st. Yeah, I was thinking that. So enjoy the final years. Enjoy the final years as the Demon Slayers gradually are powered down and break down. Because one of the big things is I wanted them. I want the Demon Slayers to not be happy people, if that makes sense. A Demon Slayer is someone who has given up everything about their life. They have kind of surrendered themselves to their job. A little bit of Japanese work culture-isms in there, with the idea being that as a individual who has given up, a civilian life in exchange for being a demon hunter. What are these people like? And that's what's going to be kind of some of the bigger issues that you have to deal with. So let's see. What would be... So let's see. So maybe we can do something like... So we're probably going to need something to regret RGT, pretty much. I'm not exactly going to base it one for one off this, but I am going to be using this system, however. I'm going to be using the attribute D6. And I want people to be rolling at the start of the game. I want them to take like 15 D6s and fucking yeet that across the table. Because the problem is, those 15 D6s Going to slowly whittle down. By the end, you're going to be maybe rolling 6. And it's just that slow, gradual decrease in power that I want to get across as... It's sad! You want to feel bad for your characters as they're kind of being broken down. So, okay. Let's say we're gonna need combat ability. As just your basic ability, we're gonna need your something like a subjugation, kind of like your demon your demon control. Because one of the big things about these guys is all of them have a demon, effectively, that they've bonded to. A creature that, in exchange for power, for them building up power and confronting unholy supernatural entities they've bound with. And some of these are going to be kind of amusing. Some of them are going to be appropriate. Some of them aren't going to be appropriate. It's kind of the idea of, Mr. Yoshikage over there. It's, Mr. Yoshikage is a great guy. He's a wonderful, wonderful, calm man. Why does he destroy everything he touches? Because he's bonded with a fucking Oni. He has his bond with something that's designed to kill people. And that was a tactical decision in his youth that he made. Is he an excessive drinker? Hell yeah. Killer Queen. Yeah, we're not going to go too hard on that aspect. Let's see, so we need to do something, we need to do something like demon control. Like, demon control, your ability to kind of control your demon, control your powers. We could probably do personal, something like a personal ability of some sort. Kind of representing your ability to act. And then we have a thinking ability, which is ability to think. And let's say ability to act, ability to reason. What would be actually? And then conversing ability, which is ability to converse. With the general gist. Now, you've gotten past that part already, Ajax. You were doing that shit when you were like 16. You're in your 60s now. That demon inside of you, when you say, bitch, get going, I need your help, he says, alright, boss, alright, don't hurt me. He's like, fuck you. It's kind of, I want that to be the idea of, like, you've kind of grown so close to this entity and that it may not even be a friendly relationship. You may fucking hate each other, but it's like, we're in this together at this point. And when I die, you die. And vice versa. Which is kind of that... Which is, we can kind of argue to be like, why are they losing power so dramatically? Well, they're losing power so dramatically because time's coming to a close. Literally and metaphorically, which is going to be one of the big things about this. Say the lines. I'm not gonna say it. I'm not gonna... Please, damn it. So let's see. Ability to act, ability to reason, ability to converse. I feel like there's another one I'm missing. There's another... I goddamn know there is another one I'm missing. Because your ability to fight is going to be its own thing. Because I want that to be always, like, that tempting factor of, like, do I really want to give... Am I going to have to give up, like, that, little ability? Little ability. It's a little bit more, little bit more, little bit more. Let's be honest, the Persona 4 cast will never get old. They'll be perpetually stuck as teenagers. Ooh, that sounds good. That feels good. Combat ability, demon control, personal ability, thinking ability, conversing ability. feel like I'm missing one. Everyone's permanently teenagers. Welcome to Japan. So, okay. Roughly speaking, because one thing I need to also kind of put into this game, like, fundamentally speaking, one thing I'm going to have to worry about is, character knowledge. Now, what does this aspect actually mean? Because never ever, you damn well know that, Ajax. Don't lie to yourself. Because one of the big things about this game is that you are going to be roughly from about 50 to about 70. Actually, about 79. That's going to be the age range of the characters. And you've been doing this probably since your early 20s. Like, you've been doing this since you were probably about 15 to 22. Like, you've been doing this for minimum 30 years. You've been around the block enough times. You've fought enough things. You've killed enough things. Like, you've been minimum doing this for about 30 years. No, the 30-year-old boomer, he's working for the special, the Japanese, special midnight organization. He's working for, effectively, the feds. That's what that guy is doing. He's working for the fucking feds. He does not like you. You're his dad. You're the 30-year-old boomer's dad at this point. Mostly, because if we go into this idea in the 90s, at least, if you were, like, late, if you go late, I mean really late 70s, you would be born, like, let's say this is 1990, and you're 70 years old, you'd be born in 1930. Like, all of you guys had gone through post-war. All of you guys have gone through post-war Japan. And all of you would know it pretty damn well. Most of the, special midnight guys, so, like, you're going to be, roughly speaking, probably, you're going to be working for about 30 to 60, 65-ish years. I'm gonna have to put that in. Pretty much, like, the entire lore is, like, gradually over time, it's kind of one of those things of gradually over time, their role became a bit different. It stopped being as mystical, because turns out, oh no, it's a big scary kitsune monster. No one gives a shit about the kitsune monster. We're at war. We need, we need to shoot some Chinese people. Like, no, like, you give your offerings, no one, like, some would. Like, it's, depending on the, like, area, like, the areas around Hiroshima and Nagasaki, yeah, no, they would be weird, and it's like, post-war, most of you guys have been cut down to size. By the 50s, the last generation of you have been, like, I want to say about the 60s, it would be about the 60s. The final recruits have kind of come in, and those guys are young by your standards, and they were probably born in the 40s. Like, you guys are younger. Like, you guys are old. You guys are you're the old guard. Pretty much, how do you represent playing, how to represent the old guard? How do you represent that? Unless you just give them a bunch of information. We're just like, this is just stuff you know. That sounds interesting. So what I was thinking about doing, what we can actually do here, or put this here, is kind of like, almost indirectly like a knowledge skill. I'm going to call this a knowledge skill, which is pretty much the idea of you're going to be able to put down a value out of, let's say, like 20 points or whatever, which is going to be things like Tokyo Oni. Tokyo Oni 5. You know these guys back end. You walk up to them, they're like, oh, fuck, it's you. Oh, fuck. Budget cuts. Budget cuts, Ajax. That's kind of like the overriding joke of the entire setting, you could almost say. It's the joke being these powerful and powerful people do crazy things, but the problem is no one cares anymore. You pay your dues and everyone gets fucking rich. Do the Oni want to terrorize the villages and beat babies? No. They hang out behind the bar and drink. They drink their ass off. Private demon summoners. I actually have a... I have it here. Ah, right. Right here. It's kind of the idea of, it's the Midnight Special Department agent. These guys are young, and they actually grow in experience. Because they're regular dudes who've been like, hey, hello, unfortunately, fuck up. It's just one of those things, being like, you as a demon hunter cannot summon. That's the big thing. You make bindings with them. But the problem is, you're also in your 70s. And since you're in your 70s, you kind of want to retire. Which is the big thing about 91. January 1st, 1991, you get your pension. You get to live the good life. Fuck all this shit. Kids get recruited into the special agency. They aren't allowed to recruit anymore. It's kind of one of those things, like, I want to kind of go under the idea of sheer Japanese bureaucracy. That the mystical and all the crazy, cool magic stuff, that's not what kills the magic. What kills the magic is Mr. Kaga, who sits at a desk all day, and he looked at it being like, well, we look at our finances here, and by all accounts, we can't afford you anymore. We pay you a shit ton of money. Because mom and dad would say, don't talk to grandpa. And that's one of the things about the demon slayers. These guys are cut off from society. They are weirdos. They are freaks and scary people. And I don't want any of them to be happy. If you have a family, you're probably estranged from them. It's, hey kids, your dad kills people for money. You're like, oh shit, no you don't. And it's kind of that, you're the final generation in more than a few ways. You were a murder hobo, but you're getting too old for that shit now. You used to kill demons all day, every day. And you still can. Very easily. But one thing I want to do is things like let's say, you attack a demon. That's going to be, you're going to take -2 experience points for it. Or probably it's going to be like, oh, you're going to gain, quote, XP. He's going to be probably joining the other organization. The government will recruit him for that one. It's pretty much, if you attack a demon, you're gaining experience points, in which you have to spend to buy off your own attributes. So you don't really want to get into fights. But just completing sessions is also going to get you this experience point. It's going to be that slow build-up. Like, I have the lore in my head. I know how to do it. It's just doing it. But fun fact, Ajax. In Japan, there are people who do a lot of very valuable work. Essential work. However, they aren't really well liked because they don't do the right kind of work. They aren't the right kind of people. They're the ones who dig ditches. They're the ones who handle bodies. There's a specific term for them, but they're kind of like almost second-class citizens in a way. The main thing, though, is Japanese society is a lot about conformism. You stick to what people want you to do. That's the idea. You stick to what society is expecting of you. If you are this, you've broken away from society. You've cut ties with it. You're like, I don't give a shit about your I do not care about your e-girl problems. I'm going to the woods for 10 years to fucking fight demons and shit. I have to go, do all this shit. I'm not being a good family man. Why would I be? I literally have a demon of a fucking sexy fox lady riding my back. Who the fuck cares? I'm not going to be nice to people because I've killed more things that could eat them alive. You become so distant from this society that demands you'd be conformist. Exactly. You have to think. You play enough SMT, come on. You think about it, Ajax. In all the SMT games, who are the ones that are usually the bad guys? The usual bad guys are people who are outside of society or are betraying society. They go against it. There's a reason Satan is called the chaos route for there's a reason for that. And that's one of the big things, is a lot of the most human antagonists are ones who go against society. Problem is, these guys, the Demon Slayers themselves, go against society. And in SMT, they play on that quite a bit. It's SMT is very complicated in some aspects because they say going full order is bad. Going completely subservient is bad. Going full chaos is not good either, because you disregard society entirely and you try to remake it from nothing. Neutral is usually bad. It's usually the best endings in SMT usually involve you trying to remake society in a better way. Or, if you can't, forge your own path. That's kind of like one of the big things with SMT, and in turn, I want to get with cars with this game, is that Japan has a very different way of seeing things. It's very much culture. It's very much family. It's very much position. As a person in this organization, you don't really have any of that. Your job is to kill things. Not good things, bad things. You get dirty, you get messy, and things die because of you. And you still have to maintain cover. And it's kind of at the end of it, what happens to you? What happens to someone who society is saying, okay, we're done with you now, haha, go away? What happens to that kind of person? And the answer is they break down. I also want to kind of play on I can't remember what it's the exact term, but it's something like black company work, or like black company work, or, just black work in general. It's where they get an older member of the company, of a Japanese company will get an older member and put them in the shittiest position possible. They'll make them work stupid hours. They'll pretty much do everything in their power to make them quit. Because if you quit, if you get fired, it's different than if you retire. The company looks bad if they fire you, especially if you did nothing wrong. You save face by retiring. That's kind of what they're trying to do at this point. They want you to retire. And you kind of want to fight for your pension. That's what it's like. That January 1st date is such an important thing. The Japanese economy bursts. And when the Japanese economy bursts, you get your payday. You leave. You say, fuck this. I want to live in the woods. I can finally talk to my kids again. I don't got to work for the government. I don't have to work for people who don't care about me. You know, I've rejected this society enough that I've come full circle. But you got to fight your ass off until then. But what I was thinking about doing kind of like that idea of old character knowledge is kind of things like a knowledge skill. And that knowledge skill would have to be, you know, ranked out something like, I would say like 0 to 5. With 0 being passing familiarity. And 5 being intimate knowledge. And it would be things like, you know, Oni in the air, like Tokyo Oni would be, you know, all the Oni in Tokyo. Every single one of these fucking guys, you know. And you know, every single one of those assholes drink where they drink, what they want to drink, and how they're going to drink. Kick them in the dick, because they're assholes. You've known these guys for 40 years. And for 40 years, they've been drinking the same shit sake they have been. So I want to get that as kind of the idea, as you're building up your knowledge. But these skills can also get reduced over time. Because people change. Trends change. Yeah, I know every Oni in town. 3 months later, who the fuck are you? What do you mean? What is this? I don't know who you are. You're gradually losing that knowledge, that your ear to the ground becomes deaf. People just stop talking. Which I want that to be kind of like a sad thing. It's just like, hey, I used to get, you know, we used to buy guns from this guy. Fuck, we're at his funeral now. He passed away in his sleep. Had a goddamn heart attack. Shit. And that would actually be a great cold open for this game. Everyone's going to a funeral of a friend, but he just died in his fucking sleep. Like, oh man, this badass warrior guy, he was a great guy when he was a kid. Shit. What do you mean he had, what do you mean he had cancer? I talked to him 10 years ago and he was fine. I'm like, yeah, of course he was fine. It's 10 years ago. 2 decades ago, he was okay. So yeah, probably like a knowledge skill. We can rank it, ranked 0 to 5. Probably, we'll probably need to base that around, you know, it's going to be probably various yokai / organizations. Various yokai and organizations. I'm going to need a big fucking list of yokai. Or I just can do yokai groups. Kind of like hostile yokai, big yokai, small yokai. You know, because fun fact about yokai, there are a lot of different kinds of yokai in the world. Like, there are a stupid amount. And each of them are slightly different. All of them kind of do their own thing. It would be like, oh, hey. Like, it'd be like walking up to this guy being like, sup, bitch? I'm like, oh, God, don't beat me up, please. You beat me up 20 years ago. I don't want to get beat up again. Now it's being like, yeah, no, don't worry. I just sleep with the long neck lady every now and again. Yeah, she's great. I'm like, great lay. Who fucking cares? You're that old. I've stuck my dick in places I wouldn't go with a gun. Like, so Demon Slayer gear is gonna be pretty standard. This is gonna be pretty. Let's see. It's gonna be a katana. Named, and it's going to have a few bonuses. Like, this is going to have just a few bonuses. So we need to do, if we do the core system, it's going to be a dice pool. It's going to be a D6 dice pool. I think that's going to be the right option for this. I want to keep it not super meaty, but not super, like, I don't want it super light, but I don't want it, like, oppressively meaty either. Like, I want to get a good assortment of, god damn it, select all you, go up here. And then it's going to be attribute D6 for standard checks. It's going to be attribute plus knowledge d6 for checks, and you're just going to be rolling an absurd number of dice because you're expected to lose them. I've done things I'm not proud of. And by God, I'll do it again. And that's kind of the idea, you know, just like, you've done weird shit in your time. And that's okay. You're expected to. Let's see, we got this. Demon Yokai Companion. You're going to need a little bit more. So you're probably going to get... You're going to need a power of some sort. You're going to need a power a lot. And you're probably going to get your own set of stats. There we go. You're going to get your own set of stats. You're going to get your own set of gear. Most notably is going to be your katana, which is going to be your way to kill things. And should you have it? Probably not, because you're a little old man with a fucking sword and you hurt people. So we want to do that. We could probably... We go up here. Getting into fights, getting hurt. Getting into fights, getting hurt. Doing strenuous activity. And generally, quote, not being an old man is going to gain, quote, EXP. I don't really know how I want to word that yet. There's probably some term that I can steal. Once I steal that term, I should be okay. So, let's see. Combat ability. Actually, that reminds me. What's the proper term? It's Kenjutsu. A feature of many Kenjutsu syllabi, standard pair of Daito. Shodan, Nitojutsu, no Jutsu. Yeah, we can actually do that. We can use combat ability, just gonna be Kenjutsu. Like, that's just gonna be your ability to actually fucking stab shit. Which is just gonna be your swordsman shit. Which is gonna be your raw combat. Because we're going to need that raw combat ability just to compensate the fact that, guess what, you're going to be a fighting person. You're going to hurt people because you are a fighter, and fighters fight. Remember, kids, that's how it works. Second beer. So demon control, that's going to be actually, what we can do is something like this. Like, these are going to be your general stats, and these are going to be your personal, like, this is what makes you, you. Maybe we can have, What would be a good... Is there a Japanese term for the soul? Not soulmate, very different. Soul. Tamashi. Be a good term for that. No, actually, you know what we can do? We can use... Because we want the idea that you can control your demon to do... Zuna. Bonds connections between people. Why? Actually, what's the I want to know what's the etymology between etymology of Kizuna. Kizuna meaning bond relationship. So let's see. Let's see, etymology. Kizuna, let's see, derived from the word Kizuna, meaning bonds, relationship tether, regardless of etymology. Well, the second element does come from Suna, meaning rope. It's not certain where key element originates from. From the Na kanji. Greens being love, affection, summer, miscellaneous, found that include that. Actually, what we can do, this is going to be really... So, if Zuna means bind, like if we already know that the word if we know the term Zuna is bind, you know, it's kind of like that idea of binding. What we could do, this is going to be... What we can do this is Onizuna, which is, you know, demon binding, which is going to be our demon control ability. Rather than about a person, it's more about, like, I am binding, like, Onizuna. Is that a manga? That has to be a manga. Onizuna. Onizuka? Onizuka is, yeah, great teacher Onizuka, which, I'm okay with that. From Onizuna, cool streamer and shit poster. She, her, 15. Oh, let's see this beautiful disaster area in a nutshell. Oh god, yep, she's 15, all right. Jesus fucking Christ. Holy fuck. Yeah, Onizuna should work etymologically. Would be just it would be just demon binding. That would all it would be. Personal ability, we can probably break these down into more, I should say, less formal ways of addressing it. So, personal ability, your ability to do things. It's my ability. Pretty much this idea would be me getting up in the morning, me doing... It'd be like me mowing the lawn. That's me doing something. I'm acting. It's me jumping across a gap or something. That's kind of like more your physical strength. Maybe you're saying, hey, wouldn't that be your combat ability? Not quite. Combat ability is just your raw, just training and ability to slash someone with a fucking sword. Personal ability is a little bit more about strength. Actually, so yeah. If we use this... Suyo. Xiao. We use Xiao, which is going to be more about strength and ability. thinking ability. This would be, we want to use another term for this. This would be not necessarily intelligence, maybe wits. Like common knowledge. Actually, it would be like quick thinking. That would be kind of the idea. What's a good term for quick thinking? Quick thinking synonym. What's a good synonym for quick thinking? Quick-witted, shrewd, nimble. Improvise. No, improvise not. Yeah, we can play them. Do we want to play with that a little bit more? No, I don't really want to play with that. You know, let's envision. I want to envision something. Plan, scheme, envision, intend, do. Sozo suru. Because that breaks down into imagine. If we do sozo suru, so actually let's go to the DeepL translator. I just want to make sure this is correct. Sozo suru. Now we want to go to Japanese. Sozo suru. Actually, no, we want to do this. And we want to do envision. We do that, and we put it here. Because... let's go to actually Romanji Desu. Because I like DeepL actually produces really good... The thing is, like, it produces probably the best way of actually translating it to, you know, DeepL. The problem is DeepL only gives you this, which not sometimes the most valuable thing in the world, so unless you kind of know what you're going for. But the thing is, if we do this, this is kind of more of a direct translation to envision. Specifically to make that. So for now, we can just use the term envision, which is going to be kind of like your intelligence and wit and your conversing ability. You know, personality. Seikoro. Is that it? Nope, that's not it. Personality. It would be kanji to Romanji. If I can remember how to do this for... Because Japanese translation is not good. Like, here's the beautiful thing. There's no good Japanese translation service out there. That's why... Jinkaku, yeah, that works. That's why you don't see a lot of, like... That's why machine translation has never really hit a good point. Is mostly just because it's a bitch to do this, because there's a lot of exception cases in Japanese. Same thing with Chinese. Like, there's a lot of exception cases where simply changing a single part of, like, the sentence can change different words inside of the sentence. And this isn't even going over things like hiragana, katakana, and kanji. All of those have play into different aspects of it. And all of those, since they play into different aspects, all of them have different ways of approaching things, which gets really messy when you try to translate anything. And that's why this is going to be a bitch. So if we do that, and luckily enough, we use these as our basic attributes. Our knowledge is there. And luckily, and the thing is too, demons are only going to have these bottom three. These are all they're going to actually have. They're not going to have all the abilities because again, they're not fucking people. They are demons. They are yokai. You know, you two have been bound together by fate, effectively, to fucking die with each other. So, if we want to do like what a basic character might look like, this is just a sample, proof of concept, you could say, more than an actual real thing. So let's say we have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 attributes. Let's just say we have 50 attribute points. They're distributed among them. We got about 10 on average between them. So, let's do Genjutsu, Onizuna, Suyo, Vision, Jinkaku. So, by default, with our 50 points, we can distribute you're going to be rolling 10d6 minimum for all of these. Why? Because you are a very competent individual who does very competent things. Let's say we're not very good at being a swordsman. We're pretty good here. Our strength has been kind of waning over the past few years, but we're really smart. And actually, let's say we're like really damn good at controlling our demon pretty good, and we have a decent personality. So we're not as strong. However, we do have some. We're good. We know what we're doing. However, the thing is, you're going to want to reduce these more, which is going to be kind of one of the aspects of, I think that could actually play into it pretty nice, with the idea being, the lower, just think about it in any other game. If you want to, let's say, increase a lower attribute to a higher attribute, it costs less. So, lowering, a higher attribute, so a attribute to a lower attribute should also cost less. So reducing this down might be like a cost of like, 7. Actually, whatever the cost is, like this is -13. This is only -6 to reduce it down to 5. That's fine, right? You can totally afford that. Because if you only have, say, 8 experience points you need to get rid of, do you really want to get rid of these ones? And you might have to. You might say, yeah, I gotta reduce it down. Like, but I paid for it, though. Don't gotta worry about it. So you can kind of have those ideas of, like, well, optimally speaking, it's best to kind of reduce these ones so I don't lose as many points. But you may want to reduce your higher ones because you just can't afford to let this go any lower. Like, I can't afford my literal strength to be 2. Okay, that works. I think that could work. But I do already kind of have the idea of what I want to do. Is if we do... You're going to get... So your age is going... Depend on... It's going to depend on... Is going to determine... You can say, yeah, it's going to determine your starting, quote, experience. Pretty much your ability to buy shit. You're going to get X amount of ability points. You're going to get X amount of this, X amount of that. You're going to get a good set of attributes and stuff, which we can probably do 50, 50 to... Actually, what we can do is we can do 50 to 59. You're someone's dad. You came in late. People kind of know that. Then we can do 60 to 60, 69, ha ha ha, everybody laugh, which is kind of like your mid, and then 70 to 7, and then 70 to 79. Those being kind of the three major age groups. I could probably break these down into like 50, 50, 55, 56, 59, you know, kind of break it down more in the chunks of 5. That could also work. With the idea of like, here's a bunch of experience points, and you get a little bit of deficit, and you got a little bit of leeway, depending on if you're younger. You know, that little bit of leeway. You may be tempted to go full old because you're gonna be able to spend everything. The problem is like you've hit peak, now it's only going down. So we use these. That means our demon's gonna get his own set. How do we do powers on here? I forgot. Sicilian Crest. Crest's powers and tangibility allows only him, the user, ESP seconds. Character creation the opposite by 2 augmentations. His first augmentation allows him to certain body parts intangible. Yeah, Jin Tanaka's Uptown Boy and his quick and deadly stands. Character attacked by an effect and enhancement. Accelerate an object. You follow airflow, moving 1 SD in that direction. You also buy enhancement 2 for fighting. So I think we could probably do something like that, like a very basic idea. Not too advanced, because I don't think that would be like, I want the powers to feel weird and kind of based on whatever your demon is. Maybe actually a few derived stats wouldn't be completely remiss. Because if we have a few derived stats, that means we can also play around that. So maybe if we use these are derived stats, we can probably do things like if we actually what we can do is, you know, pure, you know, things like how much damage are you going to do with an attack? You know, your damage is going to be your, you know, Kenjutsu plus your Suyo. So, yup. Then we're going to have things like spirit and then things like spirit damage, which is going to be your Onizuna. And she's going to be kind of like, you're going to be Onizuna, you know, plus your Envision. And then we have to do Spirit Health, which is going to be something like that. Actually, we can probably do all of your that, and then we have to do your physical health, which is going to be entirely your things like that, and then we can what else can we do? Oh, yeah, I know we can do maybe something like it. Yeah, we can do a few derived stats like that. Because if we do a few derived stats, that means we're giving us something to work with. Because the more mechanics you have, the more things you can start kind of piling on top of one another. Because now, since we have this, we can now affect these, can now affect this. These can also affect this, including like, hey, I want to build my own katana to be something special, which is going to remind me. we're going to need to heavily... So we're going to need to give them lots of exterior equipment. I'm going to do a lot of research on that one. I have a few ideas. I might just be a little bit exaggeratory, but... or we just go to Toho forms and just literally take things from Toot Hoot. That is a completely valid option, because it is Toot Hoot we're dealing with. Toot Hoot is its own disaster area and traction. We can play around with D6s a little bit, because we're going to be able to be rolling. We're going to be rolling such an absurd amount of them, which actually brings me to split dice. We can probably do some split dice pool tricks. I think that's going to be fun. If we do some split dice pool tricks, that means we can do some, like, double... Wants twin katanas. Buy it. Yeah, that might actually... Hey, you're probably not going to be doing that. However, build an heirloom system? Kind of, yeah, that would be kind of interesting. Kind of like the idea of, like, building an heirloom, being like, yeah, no, this is just a fucking sword that I stab people with, but you're assigning more and more power to it by virtue of that. But, the thing is that you have demon slaying gear. If you die, which is very likely, by the way, this guy has a gun. You know, the Midnight Special Department agent has a 9mm and a dream. But he also doesn't break down. After every session, he gets experience points. He's allowed to actually improve himself. You are not. Maybe we can do about... so we can do Demon Slayer average. Demon Slayer average being like 8. While human average is about 3. You know, just kind of give you an average, like, actually, we can probably do about 4. Like, you are just so much stronger, smarter, bigger. Like, you guys are just tougher than the average bear. The only difficulty is that you are a emotionally distant and barely functioning member of society whose entire job throughout his youth has not been, let's learn a trade, it's, let's learn to kill things. Knowledge, skills, so character knowledge, various yokai / organizations. So we can probably... This is going to be the hard part, right there. Make it really punchy with the game. Make everything a defensive. That could work, actually. We do a little bit of Kurosawa bullshit in the middle there when it comes to fighting, which is more about its... So fights, you know, fights are quick and personal, which is mostly going to be bouts. It's going to be going back and forth, you rolling a shit ton of... You rolling dice, they roll a bunch of dice, but they might get, like, 3 attacks, so you kind of have to split your dice pool up to defend yourself a little bit better. But again, demons are, like... Actually, what we can do is, like, demon average is going to be, like, 6. Like, strong demons are not... You're above demons. You've been kicking demon ass for years. Like, you definitely know these guys' tricks. You know Oni are dumb shit. Like, they are stupid. Actually, no, we can do that. It's sue you by 10, so that means if you have 10, that means you can have upwards of 100 physical health. We can do... Yeah, if you have just average stats, you can have like 100 health, but that's going to quickly drain. which is going to be times, we can do times 5 here, because your Jinkaku is going to be, let's say 10 plus 10, that's 20 times 5, then that's 100. Like, you can get pretty good health, but you're going to be quickly getting drained. How do I want the word XP? Like, pretty much I need negative XP, and that negative XP is going to be the hard part. Yeah, we're going to have to build an heirloom system. So, looking at things just purely objectively, the Yokai and Demon Companion thing, that's going to be one mechanic. The Demon Slayer equipment is going to be kind of important unto itself, because I want to understand that, like, fighting isn't always going to be the right option. Fighting is going to be the easy option most of the time, but fighting is going to take a lot out of you. You're going to stride up to someone, and you're going to be tempted. I'm just, like, these two fucking kids, these tiny children, demon yokai bullshit, are causing havoc because they're little children and they want to play with people, but we can't play because we're adults. I can stab them. I can just stab these people and they will run away and they will go away. Or I can try to solve the issue. What would my grandson do? And the answer is probably be an idiot. Actually, that would actually not be terrible to actually add in as well, which we can do a little bit of a... So, hey, if you have it, we're going to steal it. A little bit of a Yokai Hunter Society aspect, which is going to be kind of like, quote, you'll build your background. Which is like, I was a... You know, some of the ideas there, which is good, but it's going to be, instead of the way they did it, it's going to be a lot more... you build your story, and like you go over all the things that you did in your past and how cool you are. Like, that's one of the big things, is like, I want you to understand that you're going to write, like, say 10 impressive things that you did. Like, I killed an Oni in a single strike. I killed an Oni in a single strike. I drank a dragon under the table. I died twice, but I died twice but got back up. All these really cool, impressive things that you did that are tall tales your grandpa tells you. That's one thing I'm going to have to emphasize with that aspect, is these are... I reject answers. I want these tall tales, but the problem is with these tall tales is that they're going to contribute and be like, yeah, no, way back in the day, I killed an Oni in a single fucking strike. My name is Naryuji Tananaga. If I didn't kill an Oni when I was in my 30s, because I did, because I'm awesome like that. Fuck you and everyone who thinks otherwise. I'm the best of the best when it comes to killing these bastards. But the tragedy is that you can sell these. These are going to be another thing that you have to give up eventually. So it's like, well, I don't really want to reduce any of my attributes. Well, don't really want to reduce any of those. Just maybe I could just... Did I forget it? Maybe not. Is it because I am getting older? Maybe. Or maybe people stop believing me. Maybe it's just my crazy story that, people kind of called me on my bluff a few times. Or maybe it was true and just... Yeah, that was... Dad, that was 60 years ago. Like, you haven't done that shit in years. Being like, fuck. Like, kids, like, the old man was awesome. Being like, yeah, you were awesome. Now you need help to, now you need help to go to the store. Like, you need help with your cell phone. Yeah. Yeah, that could actually be a good one. Build your tall tale. Not real. This is not true. Like, it could be truth or it could not be. You don't really remember anymore. Kurosawa bullshit. It's gonna be a lot of duels. It's gonna be a lot of like, well, we've taken a shit ton of health. Like, well, oof. And probably probably when it comes to this, it's gonna be like, let's say I take like 45 damage. Let's say I take like 49 damage. Like, wow, that really hurts. I took a lot, but I have 100 health, so it doesn't really matter. Probably what I'll do is just say, okay, add the two together, so you took 49 damage. You're going to lose that much. Like, you now have to deal with 13 experience, quote, 13 experience to refund back to me. Like, oh, shit. Yeah, does that mean you want to get to things like 51? Yeah, you want to get 6? Yeah, you're fine. But once you hit like 67, it's like, oh no, like that's a lot. Like I've taken a lot of damage, and then when you hit like, oh, I've taken that, like the more hurt you get, the more you get, and you're like, oh well, that's not very good. The thing is, if you have to reduce this by let's say 2 points, you might lose 20 base health right off the bat. You're losing health. You're slowly getting whittled down. That's one of the big things I want to get across. Like right up here, the characters are insanely tough but are quickly whittled down. Originally I was going to say, like, you just don't regain any physical health. You just, if you get hurt, you just stick with it. Actually, what we can do. There we go. We can add in that in. If you die suitably importantly, you're staying down. Like, it's like, one of the themes I'm going to try to nail in this. There we go. That's going to be kind of the thesis statement of this game, in more ways than one. No country for Old Ronin. But, just getting whittled down. You weren't who you were. So if we do this, if everything works together, so what I need to research over the weekend is this. I need to research this a little bit more. I need to find out a system to do this well. Kind of the idea of just like character knowledge and that. Like, I think we have a lot of like derived attributes and stuff like that. But I want the numbers to be really big and then very quickly deplete. So I think this is going to be a heavy math game at the end of the day. It's going to be a lot of little numbers here, little numbers there. How do we make the little numbers work properly? And the answer is you're not really going to be able to. Oh, and that reminds me. That could play a little bit into this system as well. Like this idea and this idea kind of are similar but different. Like, yeah, name a bunch of weird sword techniques you've learned. Call them whatever the fuck you want. And if it becomes relevant, go for it. But you're gonna be losing them, and these are gonna be important. And every time you use them, you're gonna get a huge advantage. You're gonna double the number of dice or whatever you're rolling, but you're gonna pay for it. And usually you're going to get rid of it. And it sucks. Okay, so I'm feeling pretty good about it. Like, I think it's going to be a little bit lighter than I had originally planned. But the main problem children are going to be right here with the Kurosawa, kind of the more cinematic combat. Getting this system to work properly is going to be a little bit weird. Getting the numbers to add up, actually what I should say is this entire system is going to be its own kind of wonky bullshit. And getting the numbers up here. You may say, Notepad, you just circled like half the document, and the answer is yeah, I did. But it's a lot of... This game is going to be defined very simply as math hurt. This is going to be the majority of this game right here. Just math hurt me sad. Once everything adds up, though, I think the game's gonna work pretty well. Just getting to that point. So okay, I'm feeling pretty good. It's not perfect, but I think it'll work. It's the thing is, over the weekend, what I'm going to do, like one thing just over the weekend I have to do is I'm gonna write up the entire lore. Because I think the lore, the initial pitch to this game, is going to be important to it. If I can make the pitch work, then I think people are going to be like, okay, I understand it now. I get it. Like, I am now invested in what has been said here. If I can't get that lore to grab them, I don't think it's going to work. Because I can't really just rely on, like... I think the most accurate thing is I don't want to rely just on look it's Japan, look at it and laugh, everybody, clap. I don't want that. Like, that's gonna be like the one thing I want to avoid, because that's kind of what Yokai Hunters did, and I shat on it for it. I want to give this its own personality and its own set of problems, kind of addressing some things in society, and like I know for a fact I'm gonna have to put in side rules, which are going to amount to, like, I want to do this, but it's in, Texas. I want to do this in, like, Tucson, Arizona. Like, I want to do this in place that is not Japan. That is completely understandable, and that's just something I'm going to have to kind of work with. But Yokai Hunter Society, I think I was a little bit harsh on that in that review, to be honest. But I was harsh on it because I wanted to like it. And if you ever notice in any of my reviews, like, the harsher and, like, meaner I am about it, it's usually because I was expecting more from it, or I wanted to like it and it was just let down. And yeah, no, I'll even say that for TSL, is that I wanted to like TSL. I wanted to be proven fucking wrong about that game. But alas, the future refused to change. You'd be amazed the number of people will be like, you hate it because it's not, it's gay and it's this. Be like, no, I don't like it because it's dull. Like, it's just not a very good game. Like, just overall, of just objectively speaking, just not very, and it's not interesting to play. It's not interesting to look at. There's no interesting stories to tell. But it's like, you just don't like it because you hate gay people. I'm like, no. I know some great people who are, gay. It's like, that's not it, but okay. So tomorrow at noon EST, we're going to be going over a few games. I went over a few of them. I just want to kind of give everyone a little bit of a background on it as well. Open this up. Oh, we're going to be going Blitzstage. Now let me just open this up. Go all the way up. Blitzstage is weird, and I'm going to have to address this, but I'm going to kind of tell people now. This is called interim stage. There is apparently something called ignition stage. I don't know where that is, though. Like, I tried to look for it, and it kept leading me back here. So that's going to be something we're going to have to kind of look for. Full Metal President. This is a ridiculous game, and I'm still amazed it's allowed to be sold. I'm curious of why it's still being sold in a few ways. We'll kind of go over that. Giant Exploding Robots is a game that exists, and it hurts me because of it. Payload is really cool. Payload's really bulky as well. Payload has its own issues. The only other, like, major one, the other two major ones we're going to be going over is, this is Remnants. I really wanted to like Remnants. I don't know about Remnants, to be honest. Like, I really don't know about this one. I am very divided on this one for a lot of reasons. Like, it's a very bizarre game, and I don't know if I like it or I want to strangle the writer. Like, it's that way. It's just like, do I want to kill you or do I want to, like, congratulate you? I know the two I have to still go over, because, yeah, I got delayed on doing all of these, is I need to go over Gear Creek tonight. And I need to double check to make sure this is the most updated version of Gear Creek. Because Gear Creek, there's a lot of Gear Creek, but a lot of it's like lore stuff, so it's not like as big as you think it would be. The only other one is also Chrome Strike. Chrome Strike is really interesting because this could go in a few different franchises, and the reason is because it can go in a few different curious cases. Because, well, this is a TG game actually. This is actually a game that was born and raised on TG way back in the day. Yeah, and if you kind of acknowledge the fact, like, yes, this was a game made on TG, it makes a lot of sense. And, like, all the artwork was done by art guys in Threads, and it was like, oh, interesting. And apparently this will never get done. Like, this is not apparently the Duke Fluffy Productions. Yeah, I'm going to have to look at this. Like, there's a few that are very interesting with this game. Just because, also, if you know Duke at all, Duke is an interesting dude. Yeah, as you see Beta here. It's Samus, alright. I'm curious with that one. Like, there's a few. Now, there's some that are like honorable mentions that I just couldn't do. This is the Mobile Suit Gundam game, which is literally just Mobile Suit Gundam. But it's not actually Mobile Suit Gundam. It's... Hang on 1 second, I gotta finagle with it a bit. Yeah, this game is based off Mechton. We're not going over Mechton. We're not going over Mechton Zeta, just because Mechton Zeta is fucking huge and it's really hard to go over. But yeah, like, here's just a full Gundam game, and there's rules for everything in this one. It's nuts. Probably we won't be going over Lunar Reckoning. I don't know with it. I need to look over it just to double check, just because Lunar Reckoning is also a mech game, but is also a very poorly formatted mech game. And there are a lot of different things that I need to, like, go over that one, so it's like, eh. But, mech games are weird. Like, mech games are weird for a lot of reasons. And the main reason is that it is kind of messy on what it wants to be. And I'll go over it a little bit more hardcore tomorrow, but I think most mech games we see are extremes, and that kind of sucks. And I think that's why Lancer kind of filled a niche that wasn't being represented. Kind of leading to one of its major parts of why it was so successful. Even though I still think Lancer is kind of overrated. So, I'm going to call it there for today. Thank you all very much for watching. My name is Notepad Anon. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me on my Discord. You all know where I am. If you have any other complaints, problems, or issues, tell me elsewhere. If you want to see this VOD later, feel free to look at the YouTube channel. And check out all my other content on YouTube. Do it now, please. I'm begging you. So, thank you all, and I will catch you all on the flip side, which is going to be